What's up, Inspired Vision? Today is week 20 Wednesday, and as of course, it is time to learn some math. But what is this in the middle of a screen? That is a bowl of lettuce. That is because today we are doing a mystery game as part of our test review. So our review is for week 20. We're doing a test review, and we are making a salad for our senior class president, who is Brandon. I asked him to think of his favorite snack. You know what he told me? He told me all he wants for Christmas is a salad. So that's what we're going to get you. Let us get you that tasty treat. Now, how this game is going to work is, when I show you the problem on the next screen, if you can beat me to the answer, then we're going to put part of the salad into our salad bowl. So let's start. Here is our first question. In order to do this question, you want to think of 9 factorial. You want to go down by 1. So you're going to start out as 9 times 8. You're going to stop at the biggest number on the bottom, because 7 is the biggest number. That's where you stop. So in the denominator, we are going to cross out the 7 factorials on both the top and bottom. The 2 factorial, we need to write this out. 2 factorial is very easy. It's just 2 times 1. Now, to finish off this question, we need to do 9 times 8 and then divide by 2. So your answer should be 36. Now, if you beat me to this answer, then put some lettuce in that salad bowl. Next question. We are supposed to find the 9th term of the sequence. The first thing we need to answer is this arithmetic or geometric? Now, if you notice, each one of these numbers are going up by 2. And if you're adding instead of multiplying, then you have arithmetic to get to your next term. So it is not geometric. If it's arithmetic, then we need to think, okay, this is talking about a sequence. With sequence, we use y equals mx plus b. Our m in the problem is the slope, which we already found to be plus 2. The only thing we need to find is b. And to find b, we have to go back 1 step. So we start with the first term, which is 4, and then to go back 1 step, we do the opposite of the slope. So we do minus 2, which is 2. That makes our b 2. So our equation is y equals 2x plus 2. Now to finish this question, we need to do the 9th term. So we do 2 times 9 plus 2. Our answer is 20. All right, you beat me to that answer. Give Brandon some more lettuce. I got you covered, Brandon. You always need more lettuce. Next question. This time we have the sigma. So we have the sum starting at 1 to 15 of 9n minus 3. Remember, this right here is our equation. And that equation is arithmetic. So for the sum, because this E stands for sum, we have to use the equation n divided by 2, a sub 1 plus a sub n. The n is always the top number, so that is 15 divided by 2. We have to find a sub 1 by plugging in the lowest number, which is 1, into our equation. Our a sub 1 in this case is 6. Then we need to find a sub n by plugging in the top number that's on top of the sigma into our equation. So our a sub n is 132. Okay, now you need to figure out what this is, and we have our answer. Our answer is 1035. If you got that, Brandon told me he would really like some cabbage with his salad, which is very good, Brandon. Cabbage is full of vitamins, so good job. Next question. Number 4, we need to find the sum, that's key, so that we have to use one of our sum equations of the 7 terms of the series. So we have to answer, is this arithmetic or geometric? Well, if you notice, we're not adding to get from our first term to our second term. We are multiplying. So when you multiply to get to your next term, you have geometric. And the first rule for geometric is to find the pirates. And that is the second term divided by the first term. Our second term divided by the first term is -3. All right, that is everything we need to get our answer, because we have to use the equation a1 times 1 minus r to the nth power and 1 minus r. So let's plug in everything we know. Our a1 is always the first term, so it's going to be 5. 1 minus -3. Our n is how many terms we have, so that's -3 to the 7th power, and then we have 1 minus -3. Okay, remember, especially if you're trying to beat me to this answer so we can feed Brandon, give him his tasty treat, you need to start with the numerator. So get this answer. After you get the numerator, then you divide by the denominator, and then you multiply on the outside. So the numerator is 2,188. And then I'm going to divide by, you can type this in as parentheses 1 minus -3, close parentheses. Actually, you would have 2 sets of parentheses there. Or you could say divided by 4, which is 547, and then multiply by 5. Your final answer to this question is 2,735. If you got that, then give Brandon some cheese. But you gotta remember, cut this cheese so we can have small cheese cubes in Brandon's salad. Okay, next question. We need to find the 8th term. So finding the 8th term of the arithmetic sequence, we have our first term is 2 and our common difference is 9. Now remember, with arithmetic sequence we use y equals mx plus b. This m is our slope. This b is our 0 term. So our slope is the common difference. So that's easy. Our b is not this. This is our first term. So 2 is our first term. So that means we have to do the first term and then we have to do the opposite of the slope, which is minus 9. So it's going to be 2 minus 9. So our b is negative 7. Now we put that together and we have the equation 9x minus 7. We want the 8th term. So the easiest way to do this is to plug 8 into our equation. And we get 65. Get this right, shred some cheese and put that on the salad. It's good to have a lot of cheese. Next, number 6. We want the next term in the sequence. So we have to first figure out, is this arithmetic or geometric? In order to answer this question, we got to see, are we adding or are we multiplying to get from our first term to our second term? And in this case, we are multiplying. So it is geometric. Now the first rule for geometric is to find the r. And we do our second term divided by the first term. So that's negative 4/3 divided by 4. Now, if you are doing this by hand, you can type this in your calculator, by the way. I would put your fraction in parentheses. If you're doing this by hand, then you have to flip, keep switch flip. And if you're doing this by hand or the calculator, you get the answer to be negative 1/3 is your r. Now, this one is not asking for the sum, so we don't have to worry about either sum equation. What this question is asking for is the next term. So all we have to do is take our last term, which is 4/81, and then multiply by the ratio. Okay, you should have negative 4/243. And this question is worth carrots. Carrots are good for your eyes. And someone works at an eye doctor. They should know this. Next question. These are our factorials. We have n plus 3 factorial divided by n minus 2. Notice that the top has a positive and the bottom has a negative. So when I start going down by 1, I'm going to get to a point where I have n plus 0. We have to write our n when we get to that. So here we go. We're going to start with n plus 3. Go down by 1, we have n plus 2. Go down by another 1, n plus 1. Go down by another 1, and we're just left with n because we're at n plus 0. Go down by another 1, and it's negative 1. And then finally, one more time. We're going to stop right here because we want to match it up with the denominator that has n minus 2 factorial, and these cancel out. Now, this is a pretty long answer. You can leave it like this, and I am fine with that. No sense, no reason to reorder this. This looks good like this. All right, you beat me to this. Let's put some tomatoes in there. Not everybody likes tomatoes, but we got to make your salad look good. Next question. All right, now we have a geometric series that tells us this to begin with. So we know our first step is to find R. We find R by doing the second term divided by the first term. So we're going to do 0.09 divided by 0.9. This gives us 0.1. We have everything we need to do this equation because we know the series is infinite. It keeps going on. It has this dot, 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 so it keeps going on. So we're going to use the equation A1, 1 minus R. Our A1 is always the first term. So that's going to be 0.9 divided by, and we're going to want to put this in parentheses because there's two things in the denominator, 1 minus 0.1. 1 minus 0.1, I'm going to give you a second to get this answer. Try to beat me to it. Can't let Brandon go hungry. He gets cranky. And our answer is 1. You beat me to this. Let's give Brandon some cucumbers. Next. Gotta love the random bell. Okay, next we have arithmetic progression. Our first term is 5. Common difference is negative 3. First thing you got to remember when you're doing arithmetic is y equals mx plus b. The first term, let's start off with the common difference is negative 0.3. B is not 5. We have to go backwards from 5 by doing 5 plus 0.3. So it's 5.3. Now, this question is asking to find a sub n. This is the same thing as saying the equation. So all we have to do is write our equation. That's it. So our equation in this case would be y equals negative 0.3x plus 5.3. They didn't ask us to find the sum. They didn't ask us to find the next number or a certain term or a certain number in the sequence. So that is it. That's all they want. Okay, you got that right. Let's put some chicken in the salad. Now, Brandon's not the only one that likes chicken, but let's cook that chicken before we put it in the salad. Okay, next, we want to find the 712th term. I put this problem special for some people because some people on the last test, they would do this 712 times. Well, guess what? We're going to see this question tomorrow, and I want you to do this right. So we have a sequence we need to first answer if it's arithmetic or geometric. Well, arithmetic, if you notice, these are going down by 2 each time. That's subtraction. Subtraction is the same as addition in this case because we're adding -2. So it is arithmetic. With arithmetic, we need to immediately think of y equals mx plus b. Our m, we just found out, it's -2. The only thing we have to do is find our b. So we do our first term, and then we do the opposite of the slope, so it's +2. So that's 7 plus 2. Our b is 9. Now we put all that together and we have the equation y equals -2x plus 9. What do we do to finish off this problem? We find the 712th term. So that's -2 multiplied by 712 and then add 9. We have -1415. Okay, we're putting some ham in this tasty, tasty treat. Next question. We have a word problem, but we're not going to get scared of the word problem. The only thing is, when we start off this word problem is, do we have arithmetic or geometric? All right, let's start. We have a 50-row theater. That is going to be our N. 30 seats in the front row. That is our A1. Our second row has 33 seats. So we go from 30 to 33. So that means we went up +3. If we're going +3, which is the same thing as saying 3 more, that means we have arithmetic. Now, they want to know how many seats are in the theater. That is the same thing as saying the sum. So we have to use the equation n divided by 2, a1 plus an. Our next step, always with arithmetic, is to think y equals mx plus b. They didn't give us an equation in this case. So our m is +3. Our b, we have to do the first term and then the opposite of the slope. So in this case, it's -3. So that's 30 minus 3. Our b is 27. You put all that together and you have 3x plus 27. Now, our an is plugging in the n, so that's 3 times 50 plus 27, which is 177. Now let's put this all together. So our n is 50, our a1 is 30, our an is 177. Final answer. The theater has 5,175 seats. Get this right. Let's put a turkey in that salad. Next question. We want to find an for the sequence. An is the equation. So the first thing we have to answer is this arithmetic or geometric. Now, if you notice, my first term goes down by a lot to get to my second term, and same thing with my third term. So this means we're dividing, which is the same thing as multiplying by a fraction. So we have geometric. Whenever we have geometric, we need to find r. So that's going to be second divided by first. So -5 divided by 25. Our r is -1/5. Now, it doesn't ask us to find the sum, doesn't ask us to find a sequence, or sorry, a term in the sequence. So we have to use our geometric sequence equation, which looks like this. It's a1 times r to the n minus 1. So all we have to do is plug in the a1 and plug in the r, because we don't know what n is, so we're going to leave n. So our equation is 25 times, sometimes it helps put this in parentheses, it's a fraction anyway, so -1/5 to the n minus 1. That's it. This question is worth some black olives. Next, we have S5. This S5 stands for the sum. So we have a geometric sequence. It already tells us with geometric sequence, the first step is to find r. The r is the second divided by the first. So it's 3 divided by, our second term's not 3. Our second term is -12 divided by 3. So r is -4. Now, since we're finding the sum and we know where we stop at, this is our n. And since it's our n, we have a finite geometric series. So we use the equation a1 1 minus r to the nth power divided by 1 minus r. Our a1 is the first term. 1 minus -4 to the 5th power, because that's our n, divided by 1 minus -4. Okay, remember, our first thing we have to do is the top. Let's get that number. Then you divide by the bottom, you can put that in parentheses, and then you multiply by the outside. Your answer should be 600 or 615. If you beat me to that, green olives time. Okay, we are almost finished. 2 questions left. Okay, this time we have sum again. First 5 terms, that's our n. And then it doesn't tell us what type of series we have, so we have to answer arithmetic or geometric. This, if you notice, we're not adding to go from our first to our second term. We have to multiply to get to our second term, so it's geometric. So we're going to do 25 divided by 12 divided by 125 over 72. Type that in your calculator, just put each one of these in parentheses. Or if you're doing it by hand, we're going to keep switch flip. like this. Okay, our answer is 6/5, which you would have gotten if you reduce here by 25, reduce here by 25. That makes it a 5 here, and then reduce here by 12, reduce here by 12, and that gives us a 6. Okay, we have everything we need to finish this problem. This is another finite, because it tells us what our n is. So we're going to use the equation 1 minus r to the nth power divided by 1 minus r. Our a1 is always the first term. Our 1 minus r is 6/5 to the 5th power. And then 1 minus 6/5 again. Okay, start by getting the top and keep that answer in your calculator as you type in the bottom, and this time this is not going to be easy to figure out, so put the bottom in an extra set of parentheses. So start with the top. The top should be negative 1.48832. Keep that in your calculator and hit divided by extra set of parentheses 1 minus 6/5. You should have 7.4416. Then keep that answer in your calculator, right, times parentheses 125 divided by 72. You have 12.919. On your quiz tomorrow and your test on Friday, you will have decimal answers to match up. And this is fine to leave your answer like this, because they're approximating your answer. Okay, hopefully you got that right, so we can put some dressing on the salad. Last question. Sum of the geometric series. So geometric, what are you immediately thinking with geometric? On the R. So it's the second divided by the first. So it's 3/4 divided by 1. Well, 3/4 divided by 1 is still 3/4. That's everything we need to do this problem, because this series is infinite. Since it's infinite, we're using this. A1 divided by 1 minus r. So our A1 is always the first term. 1 divided by 1 minus 3/4. Okay, our answer is 4, which kind of makes sense. Well, it's 4. And here's the reason why. If you're doing this by hand, it is 1 minus 3/4 is 1/4. If you divide by a fraction, it's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 4. But anyways, as long as you got 4, I'm happy. And let's give Brandon some almonds. Gotta have nuts. Okay. Hopefully now you have a salad that looks legendary, because Brandon wants his treat. This is all he dreams about. Okay, so you can use your notes tomorrow on your quiz if your review is 100% finished. Keep in mind we have a notebook check on Friday, and we have homework this week. Turn it in today. If it's 90 or higher, you're getting plus 10 points. 80 or higher plus 5 points. If it's below an 80 and you would like to redo it, you still have time. All right, until next time.